Hello, so this is the fifth video in the Halloween guide series. In the first video, we explained how to get a basket for those who are starting. Second video, we discussed what Halloween event actually is. The third, we did our planning and preparation. The fourth was a recap, and for this penultimate video here, we will be talking about what to do during the event itself. So we're going to go ahead and get into it, and the first thing we're going to reiterate here is getting a basket. We have discussed this. The first video was just dedicated to this. Here we're just going to recap real quickly. You go to City, and you go to the quick links, and you go to Sweet Shop right here. And right here in the shop, baskets will be here. It'll list about 1,000 at a time, and I looked it up. It's $35 each, so extremely cheap. If there's none there, just refresh the page. About every 15-minute interval, there should be 1,000 more, so you'll just have to refresh once the event starts and see if you can get them. It may take you a couple attempts for the beginning of the event. That's a good reason to kind of start later, but Torn's been talking about different things. They kind of played around with like them respawning quicker and having them sell earlier and things like that. So I don't know if they're going to do anything like that this year. That's just kind of the talk in general discussion forums over the past couple of years. So we'll see if anything like that happens, but just know that the basket will be here. If this is your first year, you buy it. You'll start having a chance to earn treats whenever you win attacks, and that's how you start the trick-or-treat event. So now that we know that, let's talk about what we do for the event itself. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set up our tabs. If you are mobile, then there are two Torn apps that can be used, Torn Lite and Torn PDA. And these will let you have tabs and let you run scripts as well on mobile, so I do recommend picking up one of them. I use Torn Lite personally. It doesn't allow for scripts like PDA does, but it just gives me events on my phones. I primarily use the computer to play, so it just lets me take my Xanax and that sort of thing. But either way, you're going to want your tabs up, and I strongly recommend being on the computer for this. So the two tabs we definitely need is we need our medical items available and our items. So if we go to items, we would just set up right here, go to special items, and have our basket open right here. Click use, and then you can just refresh this and watch your treats go up and track it and purchase things as you need to. It's pretty straightforward. When you're doing the attacks, you'll sometimes see that you earn treats, then you can buy these upgrades, but we will talk about that in more detail in a few moments. The other thing you're going to need a tab for is your medical items. So, me personally, I just use my inventory. I have a quick inventory right here. But most players are going to use their faction medical items. So just use your middle mouse button, the scroll wheel. If you press it in, then you can open up your new tabs right here, and then you can just pull up the medical. And hopefully your faction lets you use free medical items. 90% of them do, maybe more. Any decent faction should be. I would be surprised if some are not. And you're basically going to want to make sure you have the blood for your life and restore your life as you're making hits. If people are hitting you and keeping you hosped, then it might be a good idea to just wait a little while. Don't let them farm you, and then med out later. It's going to be a problem if you have people hitting you because you were causing trouble in Torn at some point, and then you don't have an early discharge method either through ranked war or wall. Walls will still suck because you have to be on them, but you will need medical items either way, so just keep an eye out for using the blood bags when your life gets kind of low. So you want a tab for that, you want a tab for items. You're also going to want a tab for targets. So for our final tab, we're just going to go down here. You may be using your target list. Personally, I use my enemy list. And I have a keyword that I use, which is XP. And then all my enemies are right here, and so then I can just middle mouse to open up the attacks, line them up. If I'm in the hospital, I can med out, and then I can just refresh each of these pages and hit them as I need to. So it's pretty straightforward. So that's the basics. But let's talk about, since we mentioned that Halloween's really two events, the trick-or-treat event where you're attacking like that, and then the Mayall event where you're having to travel to loot NPCs. Let's talk about that a little bit. So for Mayall, for 90% of players, Mayall should take the priority. He's what's more important. So while he's not around, that's when you do the trick-or-treat event. You should be stacked, you should have all your boosters, you should have all your job points, you should have thousands of energy ready to make hits. And so what you're going to do is you're just going to attack your targets and leave them. Just going to open them up, hit. Once you make your hits, you're going to start with a very small chance to get treats, and you'll just keep refreshing as you do your hits, keeping an eye on your life bar, and then coming back to it. And I actually think if you click this use thing, it updates the treats. I don't really remember right now. I believe you can just click the use thing like that and it'll refresh. You don't have to refresh the items page if I remember. Test both ways. It's July right now when I'm recording, so I can't check it for you. And then you're going to be upgrading, and we will discuss the order of upgrades at a future time. But the first two are the scary clothing, and it gives you some examples, and the scary weapon, and we discussed these already. Once you have these will greatly improve your chance of getting treats. You have to have the weapon that is equipped to be the finishing hit. So it's plus 10% chance for that. You'll want that axe, chainsaw, or the bone saw that we discussed. And then, of course, the scary clothing, which we discussed already. Once you're doing those hits, your treats will go up. You'll just buy the upgrades. We'll discuss that in the final video of the series, what the strategy is for purchasing. But that's your goal while Mayall is not around. But as you're doing your attacks, you're going to notice that there are literally thousands of attacks happening every minute. And your targets that you are saving up and planning and all that, they're not going to be around for the first 2 or 3 days of the event. This is the biggest event in Torn by far. So what do you do for events? Well, you should have donator status. If you remember from our spending money checklist, donator status is the very first thing you get. You either fund it with the donator packs or you subscribe. I do the donator packs myself and just buy them off the item market. They're relatively cheap for earning money with ranked wars and flying and all that. And that gives you access to advanced search. So what advanced search does is, if we open up this link I went ahead and made, check this out. We've got plenty of targets here. And yes, these are weak people, but they are people we can hit and spend that energy and earn those treats. We will have thousands of energy we need to burn in the first few days, so basically any target we can get is a good target, at least for the first few days. If you are in a higher end faction, they're going to tell you to keep your fair fight up. They even may have targets or enemy factions that they want you to hit, something like that. But for 90% of the players, it's just any target will do. So what we can do is this little binoculars button right here is the advanced search system. We want to set the condition to not, and then have not in the hospital, because there will be more hits. Generally, if you're using this for chains or whatever, you do not in federal jail, because there's always tons of feds. But for Halloween, since there's so many attacks going on, it's not in the hospital. And then I set this up for most beginners. You'll want to do days old, you'll want the player to be around 60 to 300 days old. You'll want their last action to be around a month to a year. This means that they were actively playing for about 30 days. 30 days to a year. So if you're a new player and you're doing your happy jumps, you've been following these guides, and you've been playing for about a month or two. I mean, I'm recording this in July, going to release it in July. If you see this in August, then you should be good to go for this kind of setup. We're going to sort by days old, descending. If you are younger than that, if you joined in like September or October, you're going to want to do days old ascending. But it doesn't matter too much, because once we get in here, we're going to search, and we're going to have all these players. And we can see there's 12,631 players, and our Torntools provides us more filters. And for those filters, let's just jump to a random page here. We have a federal person, so we want to make sure that they are not in federal jail. So vetted, we want to say, oh, yes. We'll turn off vetted. We will turn off jail, hospital, which we're already filtering by that. And then we will remove traveling as well. And that should allow us to just have the targets that are able to be hit. So it did filter out a few. We can see that vetted player is no longer there. This is what you'll want. Now the problem is, you're watching this video, but so is about 100 or two more other players who have seen this and know to do this. So how do you make sure you're not hitting this person the same time 100 other people are? That's where these pages come in handy. If we look at the top in this URL, at the very end it says start and then 100. Each page is 20 players. So we can just do something like, I don't know, let's do 1200 and jump to it. And it's going to take a minute to load, and now we have a random page here. So you're going to want to do this, but you're going to want to be somewhere in random thousands, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, something like that. Just find a gap where no one's hitting around that. That way the players are not being competed for. I just noticed I need to take my Xanax. Am I about to OD on a guide? Let's find out together. This is really exciting. Let's see. Nope. So we're just going to burn this in the gym real quick. That must have happened when I was prepping for this video, but we're still training. We're getting ready for Halloween here as well, so there you can see it. Now, back to the advanced search. Actually, I think that closes out the advanced search, doesn't it? You kind of get an idea of what to do. Just move around this thing. Just play with it. Play with it now so you can get an idea of how to use it. If you're an older player, you can adjust the parameters in the advanced search. That's all there is to it. So, now that we have targets for the beginning of the event. We have our mission targets. We know to open up multiple tabs so we can hit a bunch of people. What about getting revenge? So I touched on this a little bit. Halloween is the time for a lot of drama to happen in Torn. I love the Torn community because people are fairly decent. They choose to be decent. It's not that they have to be decent. And there is a lot of self-policing in Torn where people kind of save the drama until Halloween and then punish people, and I find that to be really fun. So some things that end up happening is if you have any enemies, any bullies, any rivals, now it's the time to interfere with them. This is the event where, I suggest people be a little more chaotic. Generally, I try to emphasize community focus and cooperation and playing well with others. And if you do that for a whole year, then I think Halloween's the time when you can kind of cut loose a little bit. Keep in mind, though, that if you kind of try to get revenge on people, that opens the door for, them coming back on you. So I don't recommend going against things that will cause punishment to you. Don't overextend your force, because you may realize you're much more limited than you think you are. So just be cautious on that. Even if you're wanting to get revenge, I believe forgiveness is a better path. But this can be fun, especially with the rivals, people that are going to take it in good stride. But it's an option. It's something to do during the event. So it will increase your chain. A lot of factions are going to run those 25k, 50k, 100k chains. May as well hit people that are going to respond to it and, send a message for next year. Now, that in mind, this is all the stuff to do when Mayal is not around. Players are going to be summoning Mayal regularly, as well as his minions, so it's time we talk about Mayal. The best thing you can do is you can get into the Loot Rangers Discord. Here's their NPC guide. I always struggle with this name. I think it's Hemigidius, but I'm not sure. Basically the face of looting NPCs, which I thoroughly enjoy. I can't say much more than that, but looting NPCs is personally very special to me. Anyway, so if you need loot timers, they have them here in this page. They have the Discord pages. You should definitely be in the Loot Rangers Discord. There's a great group of fantastic, some of the best people in Torn are in that Discord. So just behave in there if you're coming from my videos. But it's really useful. They will coordinate for all the Mayal loot events. What's going to happen is when someone summons Mayal from their basket with those treats, it's 9,999 treats, then you'll get all sorts of crazy visuals. The Praetorians will be summoned. You'll get a pop-up telling you where each minion is. So the Loot Rangers Discord, someone's going to post that and they'll sticky it right away so everyone can find it in the pins. And then they will kind of coordinate everyone going to the minions. Once the minions are defeated, people can chase down Mayal, attack him. If you participate in the attacks, you get loot, or you should get loot. There's 100 of the greater Arca Fortunae that are produced, as well as 1,000 of the lesser Arca Fortunae per NPC. And if you don't know how loot works, I will do a video on that eventually. But these are the items you get. The greater one produces anywhere from 200 to 300 treats, and the lesser, I believe, is 50 to 100. I don't quite remember. I have it written on here somewhere, linked right here somewhere. We will discuss that in more details in the strategies. The goal, though, is to just participate in the loot events, hitting those minions, and then hitting Mayal. Do a little bit of prediction as well. If you are a new player, don't expect you can get a lot of hits in. So if you can fly ahead of the pack, like if they're giving you a list of people to hit, maybe jump 2 or 3 ahead, fly over there, wait for the attacks to really start, and then try to get your hits in. The less popular minions, the ones that have the weaker loot, are the ones that you want to do, because you're not really aiming for the very special loot item. You're just wanting those Arca Fortunae. So use discretion, predict, try to go for the ones that are less popular. That would be Asmal and Dino, I think. Avoid Null and Ladzo. Those are the ones that everyone wants. But I will show you that real quick, actually. Let me just go ahead and show you that. I have Mayal's loot right here, so we will go there right now. Null, this is a very desired item. People will chase him down. Dino is not that, kind of in the middle. It's for older players, so a few of them will chase him down, but it's not that special. Silo is not that special, so this would be a good one for new players to chase down. Asmal as well, he would be good to chase down. Ladzo I would avoid. That's kind of, yeah, avoid Null and Ladzo, and then targeting these other three would be good, and kind of predict, like, the Loot Rangers will tell you if the Mayall event will happen a few times during the Halloween event, so if you're not sure what I'm talking about or how it happens, that's fine. There will be more summons as the week goes by, so don't get too discouraged or too confused. Just kind of ride it out. Try to learn. Focus on learning. But with that said, I think that's it for this video. Hopefully it was helpful. The final video will be the strategies, kind of going into more detail about what we just discussed. I hope this was helpful to you. I hope you're as excited for Halloween event as I am. Hopefully you're already prepping. I will leave a link to the Mayall loot, and I would like to know from you which of the loot you would want. I have a very particular one I would like, but I want to hear from you what y'all would like. So I'm going to leave this link in the description, and y'all look at the loot and tell me what y'all would want. Other than that, please leave a comment if you have any questions or video ideas. I love seeing the comments. I really appreciate this community, and I appreciate you for watching. So you have a good one, and I will see you in the next one.